How exciting. Bad frame rate, but we're live. It's happening. It's a thing. Let's see. Let me go to Chordify. And yep, I have my desktop audio off. Okay, today we're talking about Chloe and Halle. Holly. Not Haley. Holly. Holly. Practice this. We're talking about Cool People, which is an awesome, awesome tune. And I don't think it gets enough credit for how clever it is. So I wanted to actually talk about that because it's not enough to know technique. We have to know what singing is, right? And singing is technique, it's acting, it's songwriting, it's musicianship, it's being able to read music, etc., etc., etc. And it's super, super clever as a tune. Oops. Let's see. I just gotta check if I'm live. There we go. Holy lag central. I'm gonna close Discord. So I gotta check if I'm good to go live on that there YouTube, and if I'm live on Twitch, etc., etc. Dangerously in love. Okay, so I am live on YouTube. Let me bring that down. Second. Bring and chat window down so we can see. I just got DMCA'd. Oh, that's not gonna be illegible. Let me just fix this. So React requests, just because of the sheer number of them, are reserved for patrons. Just because there's no way I can get to all of them otherwise. And I know that really sucks for a lot of people. But that's the only way I can actually facilitate any requests, is because, like, you know, there are hundreds of comments with requests and I can't do them all. Anyway, sorry about that, A23. I don't like putting things behind paywalls, but there's just no other way to do it, unfortunately. Anyway, let's talk Cool People, okay? Adjust my camera. Nope, that's the wrong way to do it. Nope. We're gonna do this. I am so prepared for this. I am just maximum preparedness. Okay. Well, a little bit more of that. Good. Okay. Let's talk about music theory. Cool People. Why is it cool? Why is it awesome? Why does A major to C sharp minor, why is that cool? It's cool because it's inverted. Right? So when it's inverted, what it means is that we can go down and get to C minor with only moving one note. So why is this clever? It's kind of not very dramatic. Whereas if we went to like 1 to 5, which would be... it's a little bit more dramatic. So what's happening here with Chloe and Halle, what they're doing is called Tonic Expansion. Okay, so when you're at songwriting, hey, Tia, hello, Tia Lundy, Leon, Stefan, hello. We're talking about Chloe and Halle's Cool People and why it's cool. And right now what I'm talking about is a concept in music theory called tonic expansion. So what we're really doing is we're just prolonging the usefulness and the function of the one chord. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means that we're staying home and we're not going anywhere dramatic, okay? And we just kind of switch between these for a couple of measures. And that lets you get this really chill vibe. It's almost like, it's in a lot of ways, it's very reminiscent of chill stuff, right? And then the drums kick in. Yeah. It's like doing this. I don't practice it. Right? So we hang out there, and that lets that lets Hallie kind of lay down the lyrics, and in a very calm manner, and it's very chill. Okay, so this is kind of sophisticated. This doesn't happen often. Usually when we see pop tunes, it's like 1-4-6-5 or 1-6-5. You get your tonic, predominant, dominant. You almost never see tonic expansion used in pop music. It's almost exclusively used in like classical. I don't even see it used a lot in jazz because it's so kind of mellow, right? So we're hanging out in this one chord. Okay, so this is already something that's really cool. But it gets cooler. It gets way, way cooler. So this is awesome. This concept that I'm about to introduce. Okay, so we had these are my usual glasses. I had my spare because I lost these. So Tonic Expansion is a nice chill thing. It's nice and cool. It's a smart songwriting device. But then we get something really zesty. Okay, we get this D. This is our major 4. Okay, nothing crazy yet. 1-4, right? 1-4-5 is your basic progression for dang near anything, right? But then we go. So what is that? That's called mode mixture. So we're in the key of A, right? We're in the key of A major, okay? But we can change the mode. So if we're in the key of A and the mode is major, we can change from the key of A major to A minor by switching modes. So it's really just a matter of scales, right? That's our A major, and our A minor is, right? So by taking the 4 chord and borrowing that F natural from the minor key, what you have is mode mixture. Why is this cool? Why is this sophisticated? Usually, people who learn mode mixture do so either from a lot of jazz, a lot of study and composition. And in particular, here's the cool thing here that I really think is impressive. In college, you're learning this in Theory 3, okay? So people who've paid a lot of money to go and study and get all of this nice information just packaged to them, get this package to them way later on. Way later on. And so this is off of their first freaking album, right? And they're doing mode mixture. But wait, there's more. Hold on, let me just drop it down to the most recent. Burp. There we go. But wait, there's more. This is what's awesome about this, okay? Right? So we're in our A major. We get our mode mixture. Oops, I'm playing like a 9th chord. Okay, so now we're at D minor. And there's another concept here. Hallie does what's called counterpoint. Do what's called on the regular. Right? So now we're at D9. We just turned that D minor into a 6th chord. What does that do? What is this called? You can think of this as what's called a secondary dominant, okay? It's a temporary way to change keys. Ordinarily, you never give this to the singer. That's a lot of responsibility to give to the singer. Good afternoon, Ripley. Hello. Long time no see. Bruh. I'm trying to gush over. I'm doing something new. I'm just trying to music theory stream because I really like music theory. We'll see if it's actually useful. But anyway, so yeah. Right? So we get this really crunchy chord that forces us to go somewhere, right? And so we end up going here. What's cool about this is that Hallie does it with her vocals. She's using what's called a counterpoint. The responsibility to do something harmonically sophisticated like a secondary dominant is almost never given to the singer. It's almost always the pianist, the guitarist. I mean, you name it, it's not given to the singer. Because it takes a lot of musical chops. You have to understand musically how you're leaving the key. And keep in mind, these girls aren't playing around. This song was written and planned. So we go from completely in one direction, which is, right, this chill step progression. I'm not a pianist. Right? Super chill with the drums. Then we all of a sudden, we get to that D major, that 4 chord. We're borrowing from the minor now. But now we have to make a cadence to get back home. That's genius. That's awesome. Like, we have awesome harmony and cool harmonic ideas, but then it's taken over the top because, and this is something that they do as a duo so well, they complement one another, right? Chloe is here on the piano doing some cool stuff, and then Holly goes here, boom, teamwork. And that's the introduction. Simple, right? That's just the introduction off of their first album, which, if I recall, I don't even think they were in their 20s yet. It's great to see you too, Ripley. I'm gonna try streaming every Saturday. We'll see what happens, but we'll see. Probably, I'll probably do more vocal technique stuff because that seems to be what people like. But I just wanted to talk about this tune because I think it's amazing. And this is why I think Cool People's cool. I don't know if anyone understood any of what I just said, but it's awesome. So hoping my enthusiasm translates a little bit. I don't know if anyone has any questions. I don't know if I have a view counter up. I don't know if we could switch this to like a question, a Q&A. Do this a lot of ways. Just feeling it out. Stumbling awkwardly through the content creation process. It's so hard to do both. It's... I'd have to use the looper. Anyway. Hello, Ormskirk Cleon. I'm so sorry if the pronunciation is butchered. Feel free to correct me. And, oof, boy, I really need to get some better situation going for this. I think I'm going to do this. We're going to just crop that in there. We're just going to throw it in there. Okay, yeah. I think that'll work. Yeah, let me just boom. Okay, sweet. Let me just write that in there to test. Boom. Sweet. All right. So what I love about this is that it's not just impressive music theory stuff, right? We're not like picking and choosing things that are hard and impressive. They're picking these things to make music. They're making deliberate, strong musical choices, and these things just happen to be not something that everybody would be exposed to, right? So that we got to bring that notepad out. We got our Chloe sopranos. So this is how I think about vocal classification. I think that it usually only has utility when it's classical music, and I'm not saying that because classical music like is better or superior. I'm saying that because it's obnoxious. The classification system was created by composers and music producers to be able to take people and put them into a role, namely choir. But there's also some roles that require, sopranos and tenors and basses. And but the problem is that even within classical music, where that structure is made and was made and is intentionally used to have your voice classification, it also sucks there. Because, okay, Sam, I'm a tenor, but what kind of tenor am I? Am I a dramatic tenor? Am I a lyric tenor? Am I a light lyric tenor? Am I a spinto tenor? Okay, well, I'm a lyric tenor. Okay, so that means I can do Mozart, right? Not all Mozart. Well, that means I can do Verdi. Not all Verdi. So that's the utility that voice classification is supposed to have. I would say that Holly would meet the traditional definition of a soprano, whereas Chloe may be a mezzo, but could also be a soprano. It depends on where she likes to sit and sing. Over the long term, it's not what notes you can hit, it's where you can live, if that makes sense. So when I sing, the reason why I'm a tenor, not a baritone, is not because I can hit notes up here. Because I've seen baritones and basses who can hit basses, literal basses, who can hit this high B flat. But it's the fact that I can live here, right? The E above middle C, F, G, like I can just hang there forever, and it's not bad for me. So that makes me a tenor, right? So without knowing the extent of their repertoire, it's hard to say where I would put them in classical context. I know that's a really long answer, but I think voice classification tends to be convoluted. So that's my answer. And I know it's an answer people don't really like, but it's the truth. So I'm actually wondering if I should do like an a cappella cover of Cool People. That'd be fun. I don't know if I could map it out well enough. I have to learn the piano part. But yeah. Whew. So Ripley, what have you been up to? T. Lundy, anybody? Anybody up to anything clever, unusual? Any questions? Not, I can, let's see. Where am I at? I don't know what that is. Let's see. Let me mute this for a second when I see what it is so I don't get copyright. I'll get rid of that one. That's not what I wanted. Okay. That's not what I wanted. Q. There we go. 89. Interesting. My bad, I was looking at something. Oh, snap. I did not get that refresh there. What's the difference between lyric soprano and Chloe's mezzo soprano? Holly's a lyric soprano, Chloe's a mezzo. It's Chloe could be a soprano. I think she intentionally darkens her vowels so that she can blend with her sister, but I don't actually know. But that would be my guess. And what's the difference? A lyric soprano. This video is doing well. This new style of video is amazing. I'm glad you think so, Terrell. I'm glad it's doing well. It popped. It was nuts. What's the difference between a lyric soprano and a mezzo? Again, it's really just where you like to live. You know, like if I wanted to, well, that's not range. So like this is called a passaggio. For me, it's a tenor passaggio. It's a transition into the top. I can hang out here forever. Like I can do, let's see, I haven't warmed up, so this is gonna probably splat, but we'll see. Try to call, right? I can live there forever. But a baritone can't. That tires them, right? So that's how you decide the classification, really. And then the other descriptors are really descriptions of power, lyric being not as powerful, etc., etc. Does that mean any singer can sing any pop song? No. Well, kind of. Any pop song with a 3-octave range, yes, because pop music doesn't care if it's transposed. So yeah, I would say that. And you see that often, right? Like with what was it? With his the guy who died, who is Black Hole Sun's not Black Hole Sun. The who wrote Black Hole Sun? Black Hole Sun, won't you come? Soundgarden. The guy from Soundgarden did Billie Jean. Michael Jackson being a very high voice, but he transposed it down and made it a ballad. Billie Jean is not my lover, right? And he did all that stuff. So yeah, kind of, as long as the pop tune has a 3-octave range, yeah, any singer can sing any pop tune, given their technique is good enough to cover a 3-octave range. It's technically possible. Discover vocal warm-ups on Apple Music. Dope. That's a great place to do it. I was looking at I was looking at something. It means Chloe's voice is more rich, thicker, and darker. Holly's voice is lighter and brighter. Yeah, that's a fair description. What do I think of mashups? I think mashups are cool. I think they're good. I think they're like people pleasers, which is fine. Like there's a place for that. Their voice is more comfortable singing different parts of the range. Yes, that is true. All right. Sorry I didn't get those. It looked like maybe I was just distracted by my looping. So it's really interesting that when Chloe does it, her piano touch is like way better than mine. Her piano touch is immaculate, and I don't have that on my hands because I don't play enough piano. There's a guitar with a delay pedal. Could be a synth or a guitar with a delay pedal and a wah-wah filter. I love the lyrics too. That's so cool. Let's go with cool people. So I just want to like go over again these cool parts. I think they're so good now. Like forgive my heart, don't know stop. Right? Her ornaments and her haunting melody works so well when it's Tonic Expansion. Right? She's got these it's so lovely. She's just kind of floating up top here while we're staying on the basically a 1 chord. It's genius songwriting. Who do you think are the best vocalists in pop? That's a really, really, really hard question. Because how expansive is pop? Right? Are we going to include R&B in that? Like, are we talking about contemporary vocal technique? I think Jasmine Sullivan's up there. But like, let us see the woman who just won the Grammy for R&B. Like, it's different. It's different singing. Like, it's a totally different style of singing than Jasmine Sullivan. So, like, how do you match that up against one another? I thought about doing videos literally about this where I present the video as this singer literally versus that singer, and then all I do is just gush about both of them. Like, I've thought about doing that. I think I might actually do that. Because it's hard to say. There's so many skills in singing. There's musicianship, there's expressivity. Like, Johnny Cash, when he was older and he did Hurt, his vocal technique and his range was kind of shot, but it didn't matter. It's a really beautiful song, and I think it's one of the best performances on any recording that I can think of. Like, I would cite that as absolutely one of the most brilliant recordings in the last 20 years. So, like, there's too many factors. Right? Like Mariah Carey, I would say from a technique point, like people like Mariah Carey and Jasmine Sullivan, but for different reasons. Mariah Carey's ability to maintain her range, her insane range, as she's aged, which is unheard. That's really hard. You have to understand is that when she's young and she's hitting absurd notes like this, you'd expect that, actually, from a voice type like hers, a very light voice. She still did it really well. But as you age, that stuff generally goes down, and then you have kids, it goes down again, but you get warmer. You got a bigger voice. And so you listen to like her high E flats and her stupid high notes when they're younger, they're much thinner. Now when she's older, she's singing these really big high notes, and it's really impressive. It's extra impressive because of her age. And the fact, I believe Mariah has kids, and that changes the voice. So I think there's just too many factors to answer that honestly. My favorite, the person who inspires me right now, is Liddicy and Jasmine Sullivan. I think those two are nuts. I think they're insane. And for different reasons. Liddicy has this like old school kind of singing that you don't really hear anymore. The kind of singing that's meant to be heard over like a big band without a microphone. But it's not classical. It's belt, which is crazy because she can also do classical because she studied as an opera singer, but she's belting, like in almost everything that I've heard her do. And for context, that's two different parts of the larynx that are moving. One is belt, one is, I mean, it's not where I'm pointing at it, but anyway, one tilt, when the larynx tilts, that's belt, and then the other is classical tilt. And she almost uses exclusively a belt tilt, even though she can use a classical tilt. You rarely get singers who are like masters at both. And then Jasmine, I respect because she has unlimited colors on her palette. Like, she wants to make a kind of sound, she'll do it. And then she wants to go in the basement and sing lower than I can, she'll do that too. Like, it's free, and her musicianship is fucking bonkers. Pardon my language. It's demented. Like her runs. Like, there's cool things you can do in jazz. So let's say we have a 5 chord, right? So we're in C major, we go to 5. Okay. You can do this really cool thing. Right? 3 of these notes that I'm playing are not even in the key. Why does this work? Right? You can do stuff like that in jazz, where you just kind of like, and there's not, as far as I understand, there's no expansive logic. It's like when you are on chord, you have X options. It's not that easy. And you can even do this. Right? And so Jasmine knows all of that stuff, internalized it, right? So she's doing like stuff that you'd expect like a really, really good jazz saxophone player to do, or an oboe player, or you name it, jazz something, right? And she's doing it with her voice. It's nuts. Because you have to understand or intuit, one of the two. You intuit it or you actually understand it and practiced it. You have to whatever the combination is, you have to actually internalize that stuff. It's really tough. I'd love that. I think they deserve that opportunity, 100%. I mean, her was on SNL, so maybe cool. Maybe Chloe and Halle are not so far off from that opportunity. It's a big gig. I'd like to see them have it. I got irked. Someone in the comment section of one of my Chloe and Halle videos said that the only reason that they're big is they have social media hype. First of all, their social media in 1 year or 1 month, just their YouTube, I think in 1 month got bigger numbers than the Super Bowl. So I'd take their YouTube channel before I take the Super Bowl gig, like honest to God. So that's just a dumb statement right there. But I do see kind of what they're saying in that they're not getting the biggest in-person gigs. But I think that'll change once things reopen. Like, Beyonce can put them in Coachella. She has that leverage. And so we'll see. Well, I think we'll see Chloe and Halle doing big things right off the back of the Disney movie. Because a lot of places are opening up in June. So... I'm hoping they get what they deserve, which is big stuff. All right. I didn't really have much more planned for this stream and this analysis. I just really wanted to share that really cool thing. So maybe the live stream is the wrong format to share that, but I might make a video of it. But I'll just answer questions, whatever you guys have, whatever y'all have. I'll just be here answering it. And I might do a little bit of sight reading while I do it, because I'm indulgent. I am very indulgent. Recently I've been working on... second here. Recently I've been working on...
Voice forget.
That if I don't EQ my voice... sounds like I have a lisp, which I don't. So, but I've been doing feeling good. They did the Super Bowl? I didn't know they did the Super Bowl. That's awesome. That's the biggest gig. So not only did they get the Super Bowl, but their YouTube and social media is killing Super Bowl numbers. I don't know. I feel like these girls have made it. I don't know. Like, it feels like they're going to be like the kind of act that, like, when Beyonce retires, like, they're going to take that kind of spot. That's what it feels like. I don't know enough about music career. I'm not like a marketing guy. So I don't know like what it takes to break through to that level, but I feel like they're going to do it. Mazvita. And I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name. Feel free to correct me. Mazvita. Hello. Nice to see you. Welcome. Let's see. I love that song. I don't know why it's not a bigger song. I think Cool People is like just genius. I don't know. I gotta go stan on YouTube. Make a video, be like, this is why this song deserves more views, then do it. Then again, do it's pretty dope too, so I don't know. Yeah, but I should probably make like a full video on like why Cool People is amazing. Just the harmony alone, right? And then we get to this. Right? Superb. They sung America the Beautiful. I don't know much of theory, but it was pleasing to listen to. Cool. All right. I think, yeah, I'll probably just make it into a video. And as I feel like this format is like not as good. Masvita. Video made me go back to recording singing videos. I am so happy to hear that. That is literally my existence and my purpose in life. If you're singing more, that's awesome. That's my favorite thing to hear. I would love to hear it if you want to share it. If you don't, totally understand that too. But that's awesome. Singing is the coolest thing there is. And I'm not biased. That's a fact. All right? There's nothing cooler than singing. Fight me. Yeah. Man. I don't know where she came up with this idea. Yeah. Oh, that's so crunchy. She's living on the outside. She's living on the outside. She's outlining a much more complex chord. Right? That's crunchy. It's dramatic. And she's doing it with her voice. And then it just goes right here. That's so smart. When was that for? What age were they when that was their album? When did Cool People come out? People wiki. Does it have its own Wikipedia? No. Just Chloe. Wiki. Oh, the Twitter is massive. Makes sense. Sugar Symphony. That's the album it's off of, right? Or is that the EP? I'd legit probably be better off opening Spotify. Or is it The Kids Alright? Huh. It's the most recent video on my page, but I can send the link, and there's nothing cooler than singing. Nice. I'll check out your page. Hold on a second. I gotta copy and paste that, John. By the way, if anyone in Philly, is John still a thing? Because that was the best word. Noun, the word. It's great. Love on the Brain. All right, I'm gonna give this a quick listen. I won't say anything unless you want me to. I'm just gonna enjoy this. I hope you don't mind. The album is The Kids Are Alright. Okay. And what? Okay, that was their debut EP, and then album is The Kids Are Alright. Cool People is on. It's alright. And there's an abbreviation, of course there is. Would you say that, like, how old were they when that dropped, right? Because they're young. They're so young. Like, I know they're not young for pop terms, but like what's cool is that they straddle pop. They're like pop adjacent. Pop is rough. If you don't have like your foot in another platform, like Gaga kind of bridged some gaps that I think will allow her to continue to be relevant. I don't even know how old they are. Kids Are Alright was released 2018. And 98 and 2000. Christ, I'm old. All right. So they're like, yeah, she's 20 years old when Cool People comes out. The 16 and 17, and yeah, they're right, 19. That makes sense. That adds up. That's so impressive. So just for context, like, just to go back to like the theory for a little bit, and I will go and listen to your stuff right after I gush. What's so cool about this is you're getting like, let me notepad this. Let me get a notepad up. Let me just bring that like into a window capture so we can kind of go over this. Oh man, I don't want to. Yeah, I'll keep that up. I'll just add a new one. Window capture. Notepad. Handy dandy notepad. We're busting it out. Boom. Okay. Let me do this, yoink, and we'll just cover my piano. Come on. Come on, OBS. Stop playing with me. Okay. Yoink. Okay. So, tonic expansion. Right? That's the first cool idea in this, right? And that's what allows us to have the smoothness, right, in the beginning. And it's nice too because it sets us up so well for that dramatic transition, right? So we get tonic expansion. Then we go from that, this just going here. Right, into on the regular, bum dum dum dim da 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 dum. Right, and then we leap by a tritone, I think. It's not a casual interval, it's a really dramatic interval, so I think it's a tritone leap. Beautiful. So that's tonic expansion into mode mixture, into secondary dominant. Okay, so that's a just like a completely different chord, like some weird crunchy, like, that's literally the chord that she's outlining. Okay, and this is just the introduction. So this tonic expansion you'd learn in theory 2. So probably 18 or 19 in a college setting. Mode mixture is theory 3. We're talking 19 or 20. And then secondary dominant, I guess you could throw theory, it's theory 2. They're not in college. They're not taking breaks off of touring. They're not taking breaks off of performing. They're learning just as much as someone in a college setting, then utilizing it. They're not just learning about it, they're utilizing it in their own songs while they're also busting their butts performing. I mean, like, get wrecked, kids. Like, you went to school for college? Oh, well, I guess, listen, Chloe and Hallie are going to take you to school because you're not as good. Like, delicious vocal technique throughout the whole thing. Super graceful singing. Incredible musicianship. Incredible delivery of the tune. The fact that she's melodically outlining the chord. Yeah. That blows my mind. And they're both 17 and 19 when they do this. And there's a whole album. It's a whole album. Blows my mind. That's so good. Like, that's talent and hard work coming together. That's the perfect package. And what's interesting to me is I don't know pop music that well. I had my head in the sand until very recently. Like I was a classical nerd until very recently. What blows my mind is that like people say that their songwriting in that album was like a little more old school. I don't remember many songs using tonal expansion, many songs using mode mixtures, secondary dominant. I don't know anybody who is doing that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like where are they getting this "it sounds old" thing from? Because I've heard that twice now. It's not old, it's fresh. It's really good ideas musically. All right, let me listen to your singing. Mazvida. And I have desktop audio off, yes. You got the microphone, that's good. Just gonna put it. So, Zvita, your breath is so good. Your breath is so good. And it's letting you do some stuff with your vowels that is not like efficient. You know what I mean? But like you're making those choices consciously because you're adding that flavor. When the album first dropped, a lot of people said their sound was too childish. What? What? I can't possibly conceive of a more mature snippet of any pop tune I've ever heard. From a lyric point of view, you can make arguments for things like Hallelujah. You can make like they're classic Queen tunes are crazy all over the place. But what childish? These harmonic and melodic ideas are incredibly sophisticated. That's nonsense. Are they talking about the lyrics? Are they talking about their singing? I don't know. I mean, whatever it is, their opinion is objectively wrong. I'm just being a stan, but that's weird. I could see how people would say it's weird. I could see that because this is not common, these progressions. And then yeah, that's not common, so I get weird, but you can't tell me that's not crispy. You can't tell me that's not amazing. That just the chords by themselves sound great. I love this. Oh. Yeah. And then the D minor. Oops, there we go with the E. I think that's just brilliant. Yeah. I mean, I'm standing a little bit, but like, I think I legitimately just if I'm taking an objective seat back and looking at that, I think that chord progression happens. Like if you told me someone was doing 1-3 and alternating between 1-3, I'd be like, possibly WC. Depends. Is there any extended harmony? Because I can't think of any jazz music usually does variations of 2-5-1. That's the kind of the standard jazz progression. Or if it's a blues, then it's 1-4-5. But then it'll change keys often and do really cool stuff. So it's weird. It is weird. It is uncommon, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a really good thing. I can't think of and what's cool is they earned that drama by using tonic expansion. All these ideas work together. right? If you're sitting on that for as long as they do, like, you can afford to do something dramatic. I don't know. It's just really good. I'll probably have to do a video instead of a live about this, because like I'm just like spewing thoughts. But these lives always help me with my video ideas. So wow, that was a loud hit. But anyway, let's see. Their music, they are too ahead of their time. I don't even know if this is an ahead, because like these ideas are centuries old, if we're being honest with each other, right? Like these are old ideas. There's not many new. We're in the era, as far as music is concerned, we're in the era of timbre. We're in the era of sound. More progress is being made sonically than has ever been available before, and it's like a riveting time to be alive and listening to music. But melodically and harmonically, these are old ideas. But they're just sophisticated ideas, and they're hard to use. So in that sense, I think they're just good. And in fact, actually, screw good. They're great. For their age, they're great musicians. And I put for the age asterisks in there because I've met like 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds who were geniuses at 16 and 17 and kept at it. Nadia Boulanger's right-hand man, I actually, Nadia Boulanger is a famous theorist, more famous in the classical world. And her right-hand person is still alive. Nadia is not. And I met this man, and he's the most musical person I've ever seen. So like, that's when I say for their age, it's actually like that I anticipate better from them, even though this is already really good, right? They're exceptional now, and they were exceptional back then. I can go over it again. I really didn't cover Sonia. It took me like 5 minutes to cover it, and I was like, oh, what am I doing for the rest of the stream? You know what I mean? Oopsies. But yeah, I can cover it again. Not everyone can have taste, I suppose. Yeah, I just wish, like, I don't know. Like, is it a matter of taste? Is it like, this is like, I watch kids don't like Brussels sprouts? Is that what this is? Like, do they need to age a little bit? Anyway. Alt-leaning, but I never understood those critiques. Yeah, I mean, like, it's alternative. It's not common, but it's well done. It's thoughtful. Anyway, Sonia, I'll go over that in a little bit. I want to see Ms. Vita's singing, and I'm sorry, Helen. I'm going to get this right. You sent it the pronunciation. I'm going to get this right. Trying to be better about it. Ms. Vita. Is that right? Is the emphasis on the wrong syllable? This is really, I will rewatch it just later. I'll go over it again. That's fine. Ms. Vita. All right, good. So what I would do is, for what you're trying to do, I would play with your vowels more, is what I would do. So nothing you're doing is wrong. Nothing stands out as being like bad technique. If anything, what stands out is ridiculously good breath. You have really good breath. And it's allowing you to do a lot of these color things that you want to do. Like, I don't know what the words are. And da-da-da-da-da. Right? That's like the efficient way to do it with bright vowels. But what you're doing is this expressive thing that's really cool that you can only get away with because you have good breath. Dun-da-da-dun-da-da-da-da. Right? Like you're you're making the vowel darker, right? But what I hear here is like in general you're going for this like this warmer tone, and you have options that you can play with. So like you do something here with fall apart. Love will not fall apart, right? And we can do like. And this is where listening to Chloe and Hallie, incidentally enough, can actually give us a lot of ideas because their vowels are like totally situation dependent. So like falling apart. Right, you can do something with a part. Any two-syllable words, you can add contrast with a dark vowel and a brighter vowel. To practice this, I always have people do like ow 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 wow wow wow, right? Because that when wow or yow or young, you're getting basically all the vowels, right? You're just like going through all of them, morphing, like all the vowels being e a o u. Obviously, there's more, but like yow, right? And you can play with what feels comfortable. And for you specifically, Ms. Vita, I would do some stuff where you're trying some bright vowels. And it's not that your vowels are wrong. It's not that they're too dark. It's that we want to have the options to paint things. And this is what Jasmine does. And well, like Jasmine Sullivan's got this palette of colors that's like seems to be like infinity. So, Maz, okay. Does that make sense, what I'm saying right here? And for anyone who wants to listen, by the way, I'm just going to throw this in the chat because I think it's really pretty. I think she's doing a great job there. So feel free to click that link and listen for yourself. All right. So Sonia Peach. All right, let me just go over this real quick. All right. So there's 3 ideas. This is the age. I'm not sure if this is in order. Did I spell it right? It feels like I spelled that wrong. Okay. No. I don't know why I thought I spelled that wrong. It looks weird, not bad. They both inspire my singing so much, and thank you. I'll try to practice doing that and attempt to write vowels. Yeah, and don't think of bright vowels or dark vowels as a constant, right? Like, play with it. That's the best thing you can do is play. And I would take the songs that you like to sing and just do gyow, 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 or like, you know, you can darken those and lift your soft palate too. I'm glad you think so. Oh man. You're gonna please correct me if I mispronounce names. This is something I'm really trying to get right. Layla Hathaway, Liddacy, Chloe and Hallie. All right, now I'm gonna try Mazvita and then Ndmiso Peter Ndlovu. Okay. It feels like my articulators cannot do that, but if you want to pronounce it for me phonetically, I will give it my damnedest. I'm working on it. So anyway, what I was saying, Sonia, was that these are the theoretical ideas that we have. Let me just cover my face for a little bit so we can see it. So this is tonic expansion. So we start on, that's the 7th chord, or something chord. So we're starting on A, right? A, C sharp, E, right? Trying to get my 2 fingers out of the way, right? So we're starting here. And then the 3 chord gets put in an inversion so that you really only have to move to here. So one voice is moving by half steps, a very small change. Right? So that's called tonic expansion, okay? It's usually done with a 5 chord. In classical music, like Rossini uses tonic expansion to the point of nausea, like it's just done way too much, right? But the fact that we're kind of like we get to hang out here and not much has changed, that's the basic idea behind tonic expansion, right? So that's what they first do, And that's and what I said in my notes is right here. That's generally something you learn in theory too. If you go to college, you're learning that at 18 or 19. So they're right on par. Actually, they're better off because they're not just learning the ideas; they're implementing it in actual music. And you never are really forced to do that in their theory classes. Let alone are you like if you are asked to put it into music, you're never asked to put it into music elegantly, and like in a good way, right? So that's the first thing that's pretty sophisticated. The second thing, which blows my mind, is that we go from tonic expansion, right? And then we borrow the minor 4 from a different key, okay? And before you freak out, if you don't know any music theory, I'm going to simplify this for you, okay? Here's what's easy about this. Okay. In the A major scale, okay? So we're in the key of A, and the mode is major, right? So they're going to stay in the key of A, but they're going to change the mode. So they're going to be in A minor, right? So A is the key, minor is now the mode. The tonal center is A, right? So everything is going to lead up to A, but they're just going to borrow from the minor scale, okay? So what would ordinarily be a major chord in A major, which is the 4 chord, A, B, C, D, right? Do, re, mi, fa. So that's going to be a fa major, 4 major. But in minor, that 4 chord is minor. That's it. They're just going to borrow that. But it's sudden. And the reason why it's sudden and it has contrast. Contrast is always a brilliant idea to use in art. We're here for a long time. We're just here. Right? So that's a cool idea. So that's mode mixture. Okay? And that's again taught in theory 3. So they're ahead of the curve. Someone is paying a lot of money for a music degree, and they're not as good as Chloe and Hallie. They're not as good. They don't practically implement as well as they do. Okay. Then, as if that's not sophisticated enough, right? We could have just had here, and that's already amazing. But then it goes even further. It goes one step further. It goes into counterpoint to get to a point where we're getting a crunchy chord. Okay, so do do dum da 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 do. Right. So what is that? That's a crunchy chord, is what that is, and the singer is the one that's outlining it. The singer, not the instrumentalist. For a pianist, this is easier. You don't have to hear it inside your head. You just play that. It's better if you do hear it inside your head, but if you don't, yeah, you know what the keys are, right? But Hallie has to hear this modulation. Brings us back to A major. So the theoretical ideas here are tonic expansion, mode mixture, and then some kind of secondary dominant. But what's cool is we don't get to the secondary dominant by playing chords. We're not looking at a lead sheet of here's a bunch of chords. They're crafting the harmony with counterpoint, with melody. The melody is dictating the harmony. That's called counterpoint. A little oversimplified, a little reductionist, but for our purposes, she is using melody to change the harmony. All right? Chloe's hanging out here on the piano while she's doing this. Right? Or, yeah, it's actually... That's the introduction on one song on their album that they released at 17 and 19 years old. That's crazy. So I hope that gives you an appreciation for that. I hope that explanation is cool beans, because I plan to put it into a video. I just kind of wanted to chat with y'all because I don't know what I'm doing. Like legitimately, I'm shooting in the dark here. I'm glad that the last video popped, but like I don't really know what I'm doing. So it's working out for someone who doesn't know what they're doing. But so I wanted to kind of do these live streams on Saturdays so people can make them, you know, can chat. Keisha, hello. How are you? Funny story, by the way. And I don't want to make you uncomfortable by saying, "Holy crudsicles, you got a lot of subs on your channel." But it was interesting, you know, when I'm trying to learn how to YouTube, trying to learn how to YouTube, and I keep getting these notifications like these. You know, it was like this person commented on your channel, this person. I was like, well, I'm getting hundreds of comments. Why am I getting notifications about specific individuals? And then I actually bothered to look at the channels. I'm like, oh snap. Okay, so that's cool. It makes me feel good. I don't know if it matters. I don't know what it means in the long term, but it's cool. So thank you for that. Thank you for dropping the love in the comments. I appreciate that. I appreciate that sentiment, Sonia. I feel like it's weird because I know that there are a lot of voice teachers on YouTube, but it feels like the community of academics are not on YouTube, or at least there's no one because actually Pavarabadi, the guy who did the scientist who I think he's still the world's leading expert on modeling the human vocal tract as it pertains to like acoustics. And that guy's research is fascinating and way above my head. Like all the mathematics and the models or stuff. Like I'm not a math guy. So I know that guy's actually on YouTube. But I feel like there's not anybody who's trying to bridge the gap between those two. Like I always hated when singing was described like as like, imagine birds flying in front of your nostrils. And go. What does that do for anybody? I don't know. Does anybody find that valuable? I don't. I didn't. I always hated it. I think it should be more straightforward. I think singing should just be more straightforward. And I'm gonna need a power source for my GoPro. This camera angle's about to die. Anyway. Yeah, I'm just getting started. I know so little. I wish I started YouTube when I was getting my music degree. Oddly enough, this is so weird with vocal programs. You pay all this money to get an education, and they just don't provide performance opportunities. And I don't know, I can't really blame them, because I think if I were really honest and earnest about wanting to perform, I could have just done YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, and I don't know. But what's weird is they insisted we don't do that. The classical world doesn't allow for mistakes. What keyboard is this? It's just man, I don't even know. It's like let me lift my light here. The P45 Yamaha, I think. Yeah, P45 Yamaha. It gets the job done. It's a pretty cheap piano. The speakers on it are Garbo. Straight Garbo, but it's great for my purposes because I just have headphones. wish I could write music like that. I love these haunting melodies. That's something else I got to consider when I talk about this tune. Do I have Chordify up? Yeah, no, I don't. What's really cool to me about this whole thing is it feels like ethereal. Like, I talked a lot about the harmony, but like the melody writing kind of leaves us on edge. The phrasing is really, really smart. See if I can do this in time. I'm trying to use an app while I'm streaming. It's eating everything I have. Can I do audio only on this thing? Nope. Two measures of A. Two measures of C minor. Dum 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 dum. Oh, the drums are really cool, actually. So she says, "Forgive me now, my heart," right? What's the drum set doing? It's a heartbeat. If you go listen to the song, I can't play it on stream because DMCA, but give me now, my heart. Right? That's a heartbeat. That's so smart. Beautiful melody. I can say that no one that I've watched explains what singers do the way you do. I don't see it often. There's a certification process through the Estel School of Thought that I can't afford to get, working on it. And that goes through... It used to be that practical application of academic research was so rigid. Literally, there are vocal teachers and pedagogues and famous academics who have posted vowel charts, as in the optimal vowel to make the most noise, the most ergonomic vowel on each and every note. So they would go through like these parts of the range for like the tenor voice, and they'd be like, okay, this vowel, this vowel, this vowel, this vowel, this vowel. And like, if you want an E vowel, you can modify it to this vowel, and that'll get you the optimal sound. Like, that's dumb. Like, that's so ivory tower, it's painful. Like, it's a cool idea, but to administer it in a draconian way like that is not advantageous. Because when are you making an artistic decision? It's more than just being allowed. It's more than just ergonomics. Like, and the problem with that school of thought is, so I just linked y'all Amazvita's singing. And she's doing the darker vowels because a lot of her favorite singers have darker sounds. And also, when you make a darker vowel, the bone conduction in your skull, actually, it sounds better to you. It sounds better to you when you have darker vowels. You can literally try this now. If you just hum. E, O. If you go to like E and like so you go E, and you go to O. It kind of feels a little cooler. It's different sensations, right? I've learned to kind of like the brighter feeling, like what physically happens and all how you experience the resonance and stuff. But like a lot of people love what it feels like and what it sounds like to them when they do darker vowels. So a lot of people lean towards darker vowels. Particularly in R&B, I've noticed. That's a really, really hardcore recent trend. Whereas when you were in the 90s and early 2000s, like, it's undeniable that we should be together, right? Super bright. 'Cause one, you're like a dream come true. Two, just wanna be with you. Three, oh, that was bad. Wanna be with you. Three, Hey girl, it's plain to see that you're the only one for me. Right? But now it's like it's different. It's different. Music evolves. It's great. It's a good thing. Anyway, darker. That's my way too long spiel about vowels. But like that's the cool thing about singing is you can literally spend years, and I have, and I still do. I focus on vowels in my own singing because it's a fundamental thing about singing, and the way it gets communicated, I think, is really really dumb. I think the best thing to do is to let the singer play so that they understand the options that they have. You know what I mean? That way you can sound like if you want to muffle a growl. Lie to me, right? So I'm going to borrow from Johnny Lang right there because it's the only growl I know how to do. Lie to me and tell me that you'll stay here tonight, right? Very bright. What is a vowel? A vowel is when your vocal tract makes a shape and the sound hitting all over it comes out a certain way. And we identify those sounds and those frequencies as vowels, as E, as A, as A, as O, as U, and many permutations in between. But when we know that it's basically the shape, and then we have descriptors as dark and bright, which we understand as frequencies, then we can do stuff with that. So if I want to go and make a really growl, lie to me. What if I want it to be subtle? Lie to me, right? Like it's to myself, lie to me, right? Darker. But you won't get that from an academic, which sucks. I'm lucky that I worked with a voice and speech pathologist who thought in these terms. So. And I apologize if that's like way too much information on vowels. I just really like vowels. Let me show a picture of open vowels sound warmer. Yes. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to explain the reason. Because I'm a nerd. All right. So think of your tongue as like a muffler. All right. Think of your mouth without the tongue as like the bell of a saxophone or the bell of a trumpet. And then think of your tongue as like a towel. When you do an E vowel, your tongue is stretched out thin over the bell. It's blocking less sound. When you do an A vowel, it gets bunched up a little bit. You don't want to bunch it up too much because then it'll be hard to blow through the darn trumpet. But if you want to change the sound, you gotta move that tongue back a little bit to make the different sound, right? And so that'll make the warmer sound because there's literally something muffling the higher frequencies. So I go, you can change your vowels without moving your lips. You should be able to. Because the vowels are shaped by the tongue and the soft palate. Well, mostly the tongue. What we think of as vowels in speech, mostly the tongue, but in singing, we can use the soft palate as well. And when we lift it, we get more sound in the same way that we make a bigger bell. So. And so when we talk about, A versus O versus U versus E, yeah. But I can make a very bright ah sound. Ah. And I can make a darker E sound. E. Right? And so that's why it's important to understand how vowels are made. Because when you say something like open vowels sound warmer, that's generally a very true statement, but it's not necessarily always true. Because I can change my vowels. And I can go, ah, right? And that's obnoxiously bright. Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby, right? That kind of thing. And tell me I'm your man. You know? And then you can go SZA. And she does a lot of cool stuff. That was my introduction to the world that is not just classical. Was SZA. She just smacked me upside my head. I was like, what? People could do this? This is cool. What I love about SZA and all this other stuff. So there's if I'm doing opera, while we're on the topic of vowels and I'm gushing and not knowing how to shut up, my norm. The huge. There's a concept called covering. Yeah. Let's see if I can do this. I have not warmed up. This is not an easy aria. But covering is used when we want to create a line. Okay, so in this particular Mozart aria, there's two phrases. Right. When dolce. I got clipped. You probably can't. Try that again. Let's try that again. Right? It's very bright. Very bright. That's very bright. And if I do it that way, I don't have anywhere to go. It's too bright. It's too loud to do it again. It's not contrasting, right? And we love contrast. So the first one, I would cover. I would make a darker vowel. And this is actually going to be pertinent to, I'll bring this back to SZA so that is useful to you if you're still in here, Masvita. But yeah, if I'm doing the first one, I want to do a darker vowel, which is harder, and so I'm going to have to use less air. Right? That makes it smoother. It makes the line a little bit more musically connected. We're moving by leap, but it's a little bit more and it's not like right? It's not sudden, it's not dramatic. It's a little bit more subtle. We could make it dramatic, but we want choices. And so what SZA will do in her runs is she'll actually do that same thing. She'll do what's called covering, which is basically a little bit of a dumbing of the soft palate. So if you do gang, gong gang gong gang gong gang gong gang gong gang gong gang gong gang, you can actually feel your soft palate if you do that. Gong gang gong gang gong gang gong gang gong gang, right around here. If you do an ng, right where your tongue is when you go as in sing, and then you gong gang gong gang gong gang, you can kind of start to tell your soft palate is doing different things. Gong gang, right? Gang is, the palate is wider, right? So when you go up, gong, gong, gang, that's how you can adjust your soft palate. And that will change the vowel, even if your tongue is the same. And there's so much you can do with that. It's awesome. Anyway. If anyone has any questions, stop me from myself. Save me from myself. I want to get that drum beat down. Sup, bruh? Bagel. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, my dude. Dude, I love the new camera setup, Bagel. I'm trying to do my own thing right here, even though this camera's almost dead. But it's not as good as your setup, dude. Your setup is so nice now. It's really crisp. Bagel Spiders on Twitch for anybody who really likes metal music. I think I just do it that way. I also tend to towards head voice on e's and is. I kind of want to deconstruct the term head voice for you, but I don't want to do it if you have utility with the term head voice, then by all means, it kind of makes sense. It's not a stupid or vacuous term, but there's a more detailed and more nuanced explanation that's a little bit more accurate. If you're interested, I'll get into that, but like it's involved. It's like, can I change it to strengthen my head and mix? Okay, now I have to answer this question. I have to tell you the difference between chest and head. But before I do that, because it's long, Ariel D, have you checked out their cover of Georgia on My Mind by Ray Charles? I have not, but I heard it's amazing. You're definitely not the first person to recommend that. I might want to give that a look. So when you say chest dominant, okay. We're going to bring out the notepad. We're busting out the notepad. Because this is something I want to get right, and so I want to look at the ideas as I type them out. Okay. So folds. The vocal folds are how you make sound, okay? Let's call them the sound maker. When they're thick folds equals beefy sound equals louder. Okay. So thick folds will, here's the truth about pitch. You think a pitch, your folds already adjust. That's automatic. That works for everybody. That's a really cool little thing. Think a pitch, boom, your folds are adjusting, and you can actually experience that. You can kind of feel a little bit. It's very subtle, but you can kind of feel it if you just think a pitch. So what does that mean? So thick folds oscillate slower. Okay, we're getting into a little bit of physics. Okay, but what is an oscillation? Do I have a guitar string? I do have a guitar. So let me get that real quick. Closet. My mortal enemy. Gentle guitar. That is totally out of tune. Good to know that my GoPro lasts for about an hour and 40 minutes. That's useful to know. That's without it plugged in, so that's pretty cool. Okay. Ooh. These strings are so old. Okay. So, say that if I do this, we're seeing the string move. We're seeing it oscillate. Right? It's moving back and forth, and that's what creates sound, is the oscillation of an object. I can change the pitch of the guitar by shortening the string. By shortening the string, I make the string move faster. Okay, so that's how string instruments work. What does this have to do with the voice? When the folds are thick, they move slower. So if I sing an A natural and we're in a tuning of A440, that means when I hit A natural, my voice comes together and goes apart in waves like that 440 times in a second. It's a lot. And that's a high note. All right, if I go the octave down, it's 220. It's literally half. It's 220. per second. And then 110, et cetera, right? So, all right, so 440, 220, 110. They're moving more. Now, like a guitar, when the guitar, I can press the thing and it makes it go faster, right? So how do the vocal folds work? Well, when we think of a pitch, our folds will thin or thicken. Okay, so why do thicker folds become louder? Hope you're doing well. I've been working on my extreme modal fill since December. Nice, dude. I'd love to hear them, actually. No problem, the smoke. I'm glad people are enjoying it. All right, so Dan, thick folds are thicker. Okay, so what are the folds? They're actually a sphincter. They're meant to close. Okay, and they're meant to hold back breath. The fact that they make sound is actually incidental. It's totally an accident of evolution. Okay, so thick folds will allow more breath pressure to build up before they open. And because volume is really just a sound pressure level, it's how much pressure air is pushing against the air molecules. Because more breath pressure is literally building up, it makes it louder. So thicker folds are generally used for louder, lower notes, because the thicker, the less they move back and forth, okay? When you thin the folds, they move faster, okay? Problem number one. Hold on. Big asterisk. Folds cannot thin enough by themselves to pass the first break. Huge asterisk here. What your first break is depends entirely on you. Not your voice type, you. Okay? There are people who have breaks in common and they tend to be of a similar voice type, but not necessarily. So instead of thinking about the voice type and where a break is in a voice type, you find it. How do you find it? We're going to do a whoo, just a whoo vowel. Whoo. That's just the folds. And what you're hearing, let me get MS Paint out. What you're hearing there as my tone gets breathier and breathier is falsetto, but falsetto is not an on and off switch. Okay, so let's change the let's change this to our MS Paint. Come on, Paint. Where you at? Oh no, because I opened it. That stinks. All right, anyway. I'll do this with my hands. Come on, GoPro, don't fail me now. All right. Falsetto is when the folds are separate and the little edges are oscillating. And so those are the ones that are vibrating. But falsetto, like I said, is not an on and off switch, right? There's everything. There's totally apart. There's a little together. There's a little more together. There's a little more together. And then, of course, fully closed being full voice, okay? So our first break, the way we get past it is what's called laryngeal tilt. And this is what is often called head voice. Okay? So a tilt, there's three different kinds of tilt, but we're going to focus on two. There's the classical tilt, which ends up creating vibrato. And I can do the tilt down there. And then there's belt. I'm not great at belting. That's a really crappy belt, but that's not my specialty. Okay, so those are the two different tilts. What happens when you tilt? Do I have my balloon? I do not. What happens when you tilt, though? I can do this with this cable. What happens when you tilt is this. Your folds in a neutral state are flat, okay? And the fastest way to anything is a straight line, right? So they're at their most loose when they're like this, okay? But when you tilt, it stretches and pulls downward. That's why this piece of cartilage right here tilts downwards. What that does two things. The tilt, let's bring the notepad up. The tilt stretches out the folds, which makes them tighter, which increases plus breath pressure. I don't want to run out of lines there. So that, like I said, more breath pressure can build up, but then it also thins them out. Okay. So all this just from the laryngeal tilt. Okay, now how do we do high notes? Oh boy. Oh boy. So now we're kind of getting away from head voice, aka laryngeal tilt. Though, and this is important, some people, as I freaking lag out of my mind, some people refer to head voice as that little thing I was talking about with falsetto. You know what I mean? Where it's like not everything is connected. So they'll think of this as head voice and then like this as falsetto. But the reality is that there's only two things happening, right? There's only two things happening. There's the thickening of the folds, there's the thinning of the folds, and then there's the stretching out through the tilt. Now, when you tilt, it is very hard to do this where you're separating them slightly, but that's how you get to high notes. You're both tilting and you're opening slightly. So you're introducing a little bit of disconnection. Just like with the guitar string, I can go up like this. And that is how you get to high notes. And so back to your question, because your question was very specific. My voice is chest dominant. Can I change it to strengthen my head and mix? What you can do is the cricothyroid is what we would call classical tilt. That's the cricothyroid. I forget the other name of the cartilage that's responsible for belt, but it is literally a different piece of cartilage. It's just literally different. I can't teach it. I don't even know how I learned it. I don't remember. I think I just like tried so much different crap, and eventually I ran into someone who was like, that's that. But yeah, cricothyroids are the ones responsible for classical tilt. That's where you get the vibrato. So how do you blend your voice together? How do you make it so that you're not as chest dominant, or you can make your head and your upper mix stronger? Well, one, the muscles that are responsible for tilt, probably Dan. If you don't have vibrato that comes kind of easy, and naturally, and you're kind of going up there and it's a lot more straight tone, that's probably belt. But when we want to mix our registers and blend our registers, what we do is we strengthen the muscles that are responsible for each tilt. We strengthen those muscles so that we can tilt more. And then we try to understand how to navigate sending enough air so that the folds are at a consistent kind of size. Because lower notes, you can get away with a lot. Like a lot. Like I can send I can send a lot, but there's no way that's going up. That's just never going to go up ever. There's too much breath pressure, right? So we as we go up, we learn to use less air. And by using less air, the folds can be thinner without going full flip into falsetto. They can be thinner like this. And there's less air so that they're not so thin that they're being blown away, right? Because thinner folds can't handle as much breath pressure, right? So getting higher and having more volume is actually a lot about less air, and it's also more about vowels to create resonance. Because here's the thing, is that no matter how thick the folds are, in the male voice, the folds are about the size of a nickel. And when they thin, they get kind of not as... but even thick, a nickel's not very big, right? A guitar has a big body. I can sing louder than a guitar. Why? How? How can I do that when it's got this big string and it's got a lot of tension on the string and it's metal and it's got this... how am I louder than a guitar? How am I louder than a violin? The answer is resonance. The answer is vowels. I take the sound that's here and I morph it through everything that's here, and then I get a bigger sound. So the answer is twofold. How do you strengthen your head voice? You learn to tilt, you learn to isolate the tilt. You learn to use less air as you go up so your folds can be thicker. Because if you push in more air, they will become thinner. And then you also learn to use vowels. Your E, A, A, O, U is going to be different in every part of your range. Oddly enough, in a weird way, the more similar your vowels are throughout your range, the more they'll sound different. Let me do an E vowel down low. E, octave up. E. I'm not changing the E vowel at all. At all. And it sounds totally disconnected. So in a weird, ironic way, if I change the vowel, E, that's a lot smoother. What am I doing differently? E, E. Darkening the vowels just a little bit. Just a little bit. Interestingly enough, brighter tends to work lower. But like I said, everything in the scale, everything in the piano, from down here all the way up here, there's this you can morph to very specific vowels that add a lot of sound, and there is a science behind that. Does that make sense? I know that's a really long explanation, but do you understand the moving parts now, Dan? I accept tips, but you don't have to if you don't have it. If you want to support it, I have a Patreon. I'm not sure if you can find the link in here. I don't want to really give it because I don't know, it's awkward. I'm not good at asking for stuff, but you're always welcome to come in the Discord, ask unlimited questions, all that stuff. If you have the means, any contribution allows me to help people more. But if you don't, because there's literally a global pandemic, yeah, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry about it. So, I'm glad it makes more sense. Yeah, I'm glad it makes more sense, Dan. Let me plug my Discord in here. You can come and ask any questions on the Discord. I've closed the Discord because it lags so much. Close these windows right here. In the Discord link. Yes, it's in the description, I think, of literally every single video. I know it's in the new one. Check if my files and folders. Freaking cool. Love, man. It's so good. Yeah, the Discord link is going to be in the it's going to be in the video description. Boom. Triumph. I forget how much I like doing this. There's something really fun about live streaming. I think legitimately it's my favorite way to make content. It doesn't translate really well if I were to take these explanations and clip them and make them YouTube videos. I could. They'd probably do okay. They definitely would get views. And maybe that's worth it. You know, maybe some people like that. But I love talking to people because when you're making a video, you're guessing. You know what I mean? When you're making a video, you're guessing what people want. And you're hoping that it's useful, informative, educational, and entertaining. But you don't really know until you post it. With live streaming, I can get, you know, yes, it's one individual, it's one question. But so what? Maybe I do whistle when I say S. Anyway. Yeah, I love doing this. I love answering questions in this format. I appreciate what Huang does a lot. I don't know who Huang is. Sounds like a vocal exercise, actually. That's actually interesting, putting an aspirate in front of W. Okay. Dan. This is actually cool. Lemon Tea, first of all, hello. I hope you're doing well. I'd love to hear more of your beautiful voice in the Discord, but, you know, I understand life. It's just nice to see you anyway. Aspirates. Let's talk aspirates. While I'm waiting for someone to have a pertinent question, I'm going to gush about an aspirate. What is an aspirate? What is an aspirate? We're deleting all this. Boom. That's how you high note. Gone forever. Into the oblivion of abyss thing. Aspirate. What is it? H sound. H sound is not as descriptive because that's kind of an English language bias, but that's an aspirate. How are aspirates useful? So, remember when I said it takes less air to hit high notes? With an aspirate, so just like an exercise like gyoung allows you to hit all of the different permutations of a lot of the different vowels and allows you to experiment, right? Gyoung, great syllable. An aspirate helps with air. How does it help with air? Well, say if I'm doing and I'm trying to just have the natural onset where it's right away, right? But maybe I'm not. Maybe this is a new note for me. Maybe this is hard. Maybe this note is new for me. I'm working on my break right here. Right? I can use an aspirate because what'll happen is that it'll start apart. The folds will start apart in an aspirate. That's how you make a sound like that. Folds are apart. They're together. They're apart. So if I start this note, it's going to be so gentle because I'm starting from far and closing in. Right? Going back to volume, what can we do after the aspirate? I can tilt. Right? I can use different vowels. Aspirates. They're dope. They're dope. I love aspirates. It'll be a great way to find out exactly just how thin you need things to be, and then you can play from there. That's a really good exercise, too. There you go, lemon tea. Dropping solid syllables for singing practice. That's a lot of fricative consonants. Anyway. I think I want to do, you know, I don't know how many people check this out because I literally turned off view counts on my streams. Oh, Andrew Huang. Right, because the Discord is connected and you're in general. Okay. I get it now. Yes. Andrew Huang. That guy. I love his videos. He's a good dude. He's a smart guy. All right. I'm going to peace. And I think I'm going to enjoy my weekend. But I think I'm just going to do some AMAs. I have the most fun, I think. Because most of the AMAs, it gets less views. But more people come in to chat about singing and about technical singing. And I think it's a nice way to get to know a lot of folks. So anyway, I'm gonna kill it. This was a blast. My GoPro is dead, as seen there. Ooh, that camera's hot. Okay, good to know. Anyway, appreciate y'all coming in. I'm ending it here. It's a lot of fun. Appreciate y'all. And yeah, I'll try to do these more often. Until next time, happy singing. Skaboosh.